Hey, what's up guys, it's Apollo Uchiha here, back with another part of What If Naruto Was in a Political Marriage. So yeah, this is the second upload today. I'm going to try to upload 2 videos in a day, so yeah, that is why I'm shortening the time and making double uploads. So yeah, it doesn't affect my whole day work and progress. So yeah, without further ado, let's continue. Oh yeah guys, if you like my content, please leave a like and subscribe and comment down below. You know the drill. Because we want to reach 800 subscribers and we can make it, I know, because you are showing such an support to me recently. So yeah, without further ado, let's continue. Last time Naruto and Sakura went on date to Ichiraku, and Naruto asked why she liked Sasuke, and she just answered in a fangirlish way, and Naruto told her that she didn't have to worry about the dates from now on and left her. And she began to walk towards home, and she got sickening feeling in her gut that told her to go to Konoha's gate as something bad was about to happen. Now let's continue. Naruto opened the door to his house. Nobody was home yet. He opened a package of spaghetti and started some simple red sauce. The blonde cooked more than he could eat and set the rest on the side for when his housemates showed up. He couldn't think of them as his wives. They didn't interact like a husband and wives should. So for now they were his friends and housemates. Naruto climbed into Yujito's bed, and he was sure that she wouldn't mind. He was also really sore for the day activities, and he didn't think that he could stand sleeping on the couch again. About an hour later, and his wives arrived, beat and tired. They all just knocked the spaghetti and climbed into their respective beds. Yujito smiled down on Naruto. He looked so peaceful in his sleep. She quickly stripped and put on her pajamas, then gloomed onto Naruto for the night. She was a cuddler after all. Chapter 11, The Retrieval, Part 1. Wait, what? Sasuke Uchiha has defected from the village, and so I'm ordering you to make a team chase him down and bring him back to Konoha. He is expected to have companions of Orochimaru along with him. Shikamaru seemed to fumble his words for half a second, but quickly regained composure. I request a team consisting of only Jonin and Chunin. Can't. We have only the barest minimum of Chunin and Jonin residing in Konoha at the moment. You'll have to choose a team on your own. Remember, speed is of the essence. Shikamaru nodded and made to leave. Oh wait, Tsunade was considering over whether or not she should get Shikamaru to recruit Naruto. He lives in the same house as his harem, and if Naruto flies off the cuff, he might convince some of them to join him. If any of them die or get seriously injured, it could be a huge diplomatic incident. But then again, an Orochimaru that has the eyes of the Sharingan could be far worse than a political shitstorm. And Naruto might be the only one able to pursue Sasuke back to Konoha. She wrote down something on a piece of paper. Go to this Naruto's new residence. Shikamaru nodded again. And another thing, while continually send reinforcement as we find them. Shikamaru left administration and headed to Naruto's house. The house seemed lively considering the shouts that was taking place inside. Shikamaru walked up to the door and knocked on it. The shouting was stopped as he heard footsteps walking to answer the door. It was the extremely imposing Cloud Jonin that opened it. She was obviously in a bad mood. This surprised Shikamaru quite a bit. He didn't know that she was staying with him, but he didn't comment as he was working with a very little time and couldn't waste any on idle chit-chat. She was also wearing Neko pajamas. He hardly noticed. Is this Naruto's residence? He asked. Yeah, she said wearily. Come in. Shikamaru just meant to talk to Naruto outside, but he felt compelled under the Neko pajamas woman's gaze to follow her instructions. Inside, he found Naruto sitting across from the Ivan inn, Korotsuchi if he remembered correctly. Looking on at them was the waterfall Konoichi Fu, the cloud Konoichi Yujito, and the sand Konoichi Tamari. Yuichiro looked like she was in the process of berating Naruto and Kuretsuchi when he interrupted, as evident by the fact that both were looking solemnly at the table and that Naruto was covered head to toe in shaving foam. What did you want, Shikamaru-san? Yuichiro asked. I came to tell Naruto that I'm recruiting him for a mission to go and retrieve Sasuke, who just deserted last night. Naruto's eyes widened considerably. What? Speed is of essence, and we may encounter enemies of unspecified strength. If you need time to get ready, then meet me at the gates as soon as you can. Manpower is low, so you will have to be at your best. Shikamaru promptly left to find more recruits. Naruto looked dumbstruck, but definitely ran up to the shower. Yuichiro walked up to her room to begin putting on her ninja gear. After she was done, which didn't take any time at all, she walked sedately back to the kitchen area. Where are you going? Kuretsuchi asked. I'm getting ready for the mission. He only specified that Naruto could go, Fu said quietly. He also specified that they're low on manpower. Okay, probably accept you as a part of his team, but why are you going? You don't have to, Temari asked. I'm going in order to protect Naruto. You're going because of him? Why? Kuretsuchi asked. Because to me, he's a precious person. Kuretsuchi's mouth was agape. And just when did that happen? 2 nights ago, Yuichiro said sheepishly. She'd been doing a lot of things uncharacteristic of her as of late, such as being sheepish or showing embarrassment. So you did fuck the kid? Yuichiro's cheeks turned a slight shade of red. No, I didn't. Why are you saying things like that? Oh please, he became your precious person, Kuretsuchi said with no small amount of sarcasm. On the night that you two start sleeping together, you are so fucking him, you shortakon. Yuichiro pinched the bridge of her nose and let out a sigh. We are not having relations. I just don't feel comfortable knowing that he's sent on a mission to retrieve a traitor, while fighting foes of unspecified strength on low manpower. Not only that, but if he dies, there would be an international incident, she said. I'm going too, Fu said. Why are you going? Kuretsuchi asked incredulously. Because he's my friend. Even if we're married, he's my friend, I think. I never had a friend before, but I think that's the connection I have with him. His friendship, so I'm going to protect him. Fu also went upstairs to get her ninja gear, who was soon followed by Temari. Not you too, Kuretsuchi said. Words could not be able to accurately describe the feeling that Kuretsuchi was having right then. Or being sane in an insane world might come close to the feeling. If he dies on the mission, there would be a huge diplomatic incident. If he dies on this mission, we wouldn't have to be stuck in a loveless marriage anymore. This marriage could be help in leading the world to peace, Temari said in a tone that spoke of finality, and continued to walk to her room to get her tools. Kuretsuchi belted out mighty sigh. Fine, you fucking stoic, I'll go too, she said to herself. She also went to get geared up. When Naruto burst out of his room, dressed and bolted towards the door, he was met with his wives, all dressed in shinobi gear. What are you guys doing? He asked. We're going with you, shithead, as Kuretsuchi courteously replied. Why? I'm going in order to protect my precious person, Yuito said with a little smile. I'm going in order to protect my friend, Fu said with a big grin. I'm going in order to protect the peace of the nation, Temari said blankly. I have absolutely no idea why I'm going, Kuretsuchi said with a defeated tone. Naruto's eyes would have tears if he had the time. However, he was working on borrowed time as it was. Alright, let's go! Naruto burst out of his door and headed to the gates, with his harem in tow. At the gates, he was met with the sight of Shikamaru, Kiba and Akamaru, his sister Hana and her dog trio, Tenten, Hinata and Neji. Quite the motley crew indeed. Who are they? Hana asked, referring to foreign konoichis with Naruto. We're diplomats from different villages that come to help, Temari said. Tenten looked at Temari with slight concern, but didn't sense any malicious intent, so chose not to speak up. Having her back practically broken in half during the Chonin exams didn't make her practically trusting of the Saint Konoichi. I'm going to need a full report of everybody's battle skill. We'll talk as we run. Hinata and Neji, you bring up the rear and provide scouting details with your Byakugan. Kiba and Hana, you stay in front to track the scent, Shikamaru stated in a professional tone. They all nodded and were all about to take off when Sakura ran up from the main road on Naruto. There were tears in her eyes. Naruto, please bring Sasuke back. She dropped to her knees and began to cry in earnest. Naruto looked on with slight solemnity. Sorry about the word, guys, but I don't quite understand this. In his expression. Don't worry, even if I have to break his arms and carry him all the way back to Konoha, I'll bring him back, Naruto said and gave her a great big eye-blinding smile in order to reassure her. He turned around and took off before he could see her reaction. Everyone else, Sakura, ran after him. The Sasuke retrieval mission had started. Tell me when you have the scent, Shikamaru told Kiba and Hana. They both nodded. Okay everyone, tell me your battle skills. Tenten. I specialize in the art of ninja tools and use my sealing scrolls to hide them all. In ninja tools, I make the best use of throwing weapons. Kiba, I specialize in tracking and the use of Inuzuka special jutsu. Hana, I also specialize in tracking and the use of Inuzuka jutsu. However, I am also a trained medic. Fu, I am a sport fighter, but I also am skilled with kenjutsu. Fu didn't feel like it was necessary to divulge the secret of her being a Jinchuriki. Kurtasuchi, I carry the lava bloodline limit and can use it to make poisonous gas. I also know some earth jutsu for various ranges, and I am also good with Genjutsu. Tamari, I'm a long-range sport fighter and I use my battle fan to amplify my wind-based attacks. Hinata, I use my Byakugan to help use my gentle fist taijutsu style. Neji, I do as well. Naruto, I can create shitloads of clones and I'm really good at stalling the enemy. Yujiro, I know many different body modification jutsu. I am skilled in kenjutsu, ninjutsu and some genjutsu and rudimentally healing jutsu. I mostly use fire jutsu and am extremely agile. Yujiro also left out her status as a Jinchuriki. I picked up their trail. There are 5 different scents, Hana said. Good, let's pick up the pace. Hinata, Neji, tell me about anything that you can see ahead of us. Shikamaru said, I can see 2 injured ninjas about a half of a kilometer to the left of us, making their way to Konoha. Hinata said, we can waste time to deviate the trail. We have to leave them alone. They soon came up to a site where a small battle took place. This must be where the 2 ninjas got injured, Yujiro said. We keep on moving. Hinata, Neji, I can't see anything. Hinata answered. Neither did I. He looked at Kiba and Hana. The scent's still here, but it changed, become foul. Akamaru doesn't like it. Yeah, and I smelled something else as well. Something different. Something that are different. Hana said. I don't like this. It's so troublesome, Shikamaru said. We move on, but keep your senses about you. These are companions of Orochimaru. We don't know what tricks they have up their sleeves. Almost as soon as they left towards the scent, Neji spoke up. I can see them, faintly, a couple of clicks away from us. They're resting. Okay, we're going to advance. Here, Shikamaru stopped and put his hands into the rat seal, shadow paralysis, stopping Naruto from taking another step. There was a piece of thread directly under him. Okay, also be wary of traps. Hinata, call out any traps that you see directly in front of us. Yes. They began to move as much slower as they can. Link break. Kidimaru sat up straight. We're being followed. What? How the fuck did anyone fall for your obvious as shit trap? Tayuya said. I set second and third tier string traps under the first one. But that doesn't matter. We're being followed. How many? Jirobo asked. Kidimaru was silent for a couple of moments. At least 8, probably more. Saikon asked with a sigh. Well, at least we have the Akatsuki helping us out. Are we really being chased by 5 fucking Jinchurikis? I know the Akatsuki is strong as shit, but still, 5 fucking Jinchurikis is a lot to beat the shit out of. And we also have to help capture them. The US side explosively. The plan has so many fucking holes in it. Like what? If they didn't send any goddamn Jinchuriki? From what I hear, the Akatsuki operate for Jinchuriki and money. And we don't got any money. Konoha is down shinobi as it is now. And they don't know that we have the Akatsuki with us. It would make sense that they sent them, Hidamaru said. And since when has Konoha operated on what strictly makes sense? Sakon asked. I don't know, and I don't care. We already have the Uchiha. Hidemaru gestured to the weird-looking barrel by his side. And we already have the Akatsuki helping us out. So we just have to go with the plan and hope for the best. Hidemaru got up and grabbed a hold onto the barrel. Let's go set the ambush in the clearing up ahead. When the retrieval team was about to enter the clearing, Shikamaru held up his hand, signaling to stop. Neji, Byakugan. They're waiting for us. Four are standing. One is crouched in a barrel, I think, and there are 2 more to the side of them. I thought there were only 5. Shikamaru looked to Hana for an explanation. The 2 to the side must have not come with the 4. So who are they? Shikamaru asked. I don't know, but their chakra is really powerful, Hinata said, troublesome. If we rush them, we might beat them with numbers, but we don't know how powerful they are. They also have set up an ambush of some sort, so we can't. Shikamaru was interrupted by the flying 3-bladed scythe that he was forced to dodge from. I can't fucking take it anymore. Blood for Jashin-sama. A man wearing Akatsuki robes with silky back silver hair appeared before the group with a maniac marrying on his face. The retrieval team ran into the clearing in order to get a better picture of what was going on, but they were interrupted by a large man with a mohawk hefting a boulder that would definitely be large enough to squash all of them at once. He threw it at them, seeming with an ease that bespoke of great strength. Kurotsuchi went through hand seals and shouted out, Earth's Dome! Several slabs of rock covered all of the retrieval team from the harm that gyrobolt her, however. The amount of chakra that needed to saturate the jutsu to make it strong enough that the boulder didn't crush it was fairly large, and Kurotsuchi was slightly winded from the effort. Jirobo ran up to the dome that Kurotsuchi made, went through some hand seals and shouted out, Earth's Dome of Nothingness! More rocks bursted from the ground and covered the dome, creating a second shell that encompassed the first. The members inside the dome began to feel their chakra seeping away. Kurotsuchi had the worst of it because she had continually fed her chakra into the dome that she made to make sure that it didn't lose the chakra supporting it and fall down, crushing them. Yuto, quickly thinking, jumped on the roof of the dome and extended her nails into extremely long, thin and sharp points. Naruto, get a Rasengan! He nodded and spawned a clone to start creating the Rasengan, while he started shoving and slashing her nails into the top of the ceiling, quickly destroying the top of Kurotsuchi's dome and beating into the ceiling of Jirobo's dome. The dome on top of the other dome started to heal itself, however. Not expecting this, she gave a few more extremely chakra-enhanced slashes to the dome, some even breaking the surface, and screamed, Now! She jumped down to give Naruto a clear shout. Naruto jumped up and shoved the Rasengan into the ceiling of the dome, drilling into the weak parts that Yujito created with his huge explosion of concessive force, blew the top of the dome up and outwards. The side of both shells of the dome fell down, not harming anyone. Hidan was waiting for them, however, and thrust the top 2 blades of his scythe into Naruto's chest cavity. Naruto, impaled on his scythe, puffed into smoke. Yujiro rushed Hidan with her hand claws and her feet claws extended. She went for an overhead slash at his scythe, which he blocked, but he wasn't expecting her to suddenly grab onto the blunt part of the scythe and use it as leverage to ram her feet claws into his lower abdomen. He jumped back with no discernible difficulty, which was strange considering that he had 10 puncture marks in his abdomen, which went straight through his body. Kakazu was looking on from the sideline. That was smart thinking. The woman cut into the top of the dome and got the brat to launch his jutsu there, so that the dome wouldn't fall and crush them. She also seems rather dexterous and capable. The Nibi might be difficult to take down. The retrieval team jumped out of the remain of the dome, giving him a better look at what the team was composed of. Kakazu narrowed his eyes. I only count 3 Jinchurikis. This is going to complicate the matters. The 3 other sound guards unit made a great show of making off the Uchiha and leaving Jirobo behind with Hidan, just like they were ordered to. They're getting away, Naruto shouted. Shikamaru looked at the opponent uprisingly. We can't waste time fighting these two. Even if we have the superior numbers, they might specialize in delaying the enemy, which would explain why they were left behind. Kurotsuchi seemed to be having similar thoughts. I'll stall the fatty and the religious nut. You go after the Uchiha. You can't do it alone. You're exhausted, Shikamaru said. She dug into her pouch, wiped out a soldier pill, and promptly swallowed it. I'll be fine. Go. I'll stay too, Hinata said timidly. Kurotsuchi looked at her and then turned back to Jirobo and Hidan. I got the nut, you got the fatty. Hinata nodded in agreement. Kakazu didn't want to leave Hidan in charge of a Jinchuriki by himself, because he just knew that Hidan was going to try and kill it. However, it appeared that there was no Jinchuriki amongst the two fighting Hidan. Kakazu silently followed the sound guards slightly to the side and completely out of sight. Shikamaru looked at them with grave eyes but quickly averted them. Alright, let's go. The retrieval team went after the rest of the sound guard. Hinata's eyes lingered on Naruto's form, up until he vanished into the 3 lands. They snapped back to Hidan and Jirobo. Kurotsuchi, Hinata, Jirobo and Hidan were all waiting in anticipation for the other to make the move first. Hidan, however, didn't have much patience at all. He rushed at Kurotsuchi with his scythe in hand. She quickly brought out her sword and swung to meet her opponent's instrument, which they were in a lock. Jirobo picked up another slightly smaller boulder and hurled it at Hinata. She ran to meet it, ducked under the rock at the last second and continued to run towards him. She extended her hands in preparation of the gentle fist. He charged at her with his torso hunched forwards and his arms covered with his chest and abdomen. Hinata swung her palms at his midsection, but he didn't stop and barreled into her, knocking her to the side. She quickly righted herself and charged at him again. He went for the circle maneuver as before. He had the advantage due to his superior body weight and momentum, which she wouldn't be able to sufficiently stop with her minute body size. Even with the ability of the gentle fist, she knew that she wouldn't be able to attack him with him charging her like that. So when they were about to collide, she instead dove to the side and struck him in the right leg, closing a few chakra points. He grunted in pain. His movements were slightly hampered and he wouldn't be able to run with the leg anymore. She had gained the advantage. Back with Hidan and Kurotsuchi. They were trading blows with their weapons. Hidan had far greater strength with wielding the scythe, and was extremely skilled with using it. However, Kurotsuchi had speed and maneuverability, which she took extremely advantage of. Mostly of his swings were dodged or parried altogether, but she wasn't able to get any shots in because he had the greater reach. He was fighting like a person who had nothing to lose, like a person with a death wish, and had absolutely no concept of the word risk. Hidan would run up to her and get directly in her guard just to get the chance to hit her. She wouldn't take the risk as the person who had just recently been skewered. He was even still bleeding. profusely from the midsection. Something was wrong with him. No, something was wrong about him. Maybe he's immune to pain. A strike to a vital point could end this, she thought. He ran up to her again and swung his scythe horizontally. She ducked under the swing and, taking a risk, ran him through with her sword, straight through his heart. Instead of falling over dead, Hidan just smirked cruelly. This was just what he was waiting for. While she was stuck within his guard due to the sword that was lodged in his ribcage, he brought out a spike from his cloak with his left hand and shoved it downwards. Kurotsuchi let go of the sword and backpedaled wildly to avoid the spike. He rushed at her again and one-handedly swung his scythe in a diagonal arc. She hastily brought out a kunai and parried the blow, but was unprepared for the spike that came sailing for her midsection. She thrust her body violently to stop to avoid the spike. She grabbed the sword that was still sticking out of his chest for sport. The sword slipped out of his ribcage with a wet click sound, and she fell onto the ground along with her sport. Hidan took the initiative and jumped on her torso, knocking the wind out of her chest. He tried to impale her, but she grabbed her sword and parried the strike of the scythe to impale the ground next to her head. She swung wildly at his face and managed to slice his nose clean off his head. A deluge of blood flowed out of the beginning and splattered her face and torso. He jumped off her. There was not a look of pain or surprise on his features, but rather a look of triumph. He pulled up his spike and licked the tip of it. She touched her face. It was covered in the blood of her enemy, but she could feel the small cut on her cheek. There was practically no blood at all on the spike after being impaled in the ground. However, there was evidently enough to proceed with his ritual. He made a circle on the ground with blood which had a reverse triangle on the inside. Kurotsuchi was breathing heavily and extremely shocked by her opponent. It wasn't every day that you fought a person who could survive being skewered in the abdomen 10 times and the heart once, and could still not only stand but seem unfazed by the downpour of blood from empty nose socket. Without looking away, she called out to the Hinata, "Wanna switch?" Hinata didn't speak but only ran up to Hidan and began to fight. Kurotsuchi, confused by the amount of favor that Hinata had suddenly wished to fight the freak that was Hidan, turned and looked behind her. She was almost crushed by the huge red hand that swiped at her. Link break. A little bit earlier, after Hinata had disabled Jirobo's right leg, she ran up to him again and began a taijutsu fight in earnest. He was slightly immediately strong, and one punch could mean the end of her spar, but she attacked him with all that she had, running up to him time and time again to try and hit all the points that she could before he would be able to retaliate, only to dodge, parry, or jump back and try again. His punches and kicks were fast, well placed, and done with great strength, but as they continued to fight, his attacks slowed down. They lost precision, and worst of all, they lost their strength. Hinata charged ahead once more, hoping to end the fight quickly, and swung her palm to his head. She wasn't expecting black markings to spread out over his whole body, and for him to regain all his composure that lost during the fight. He caught the hand that was aiming for her forehead and swung the girl around and threw her at a small boulder. She impacted the rock with a dull thud and slid down to the ground. The brute ran forward and tried to kick her into the rock, but she was able to scramble away in it. The rock that she had been laying against was turned into a gravel, destroyed by the power of the kick that Jirobo possessed. Her entire body ached just from the impact from the boulder. If she was kicked into it, she would have been turned into a fine paste. Hinata slowly got up from the ground and back into the fighting pose. Jirobo charged at her, swung for her head. His strength wasn't the only thing that improved, as evidenced when Hinata barely managed to lean her head to the side and avoid losing her thinking organs. He swung his leg upwards, which she managed to avoid by leaning backwards. Hinata cartwheeled backwards, hoping to regain her balance. He charged at her again and tried to punch kick combo again, but she was prepared for it and dove to the side of him. She quickly got back up and started striking all of the points that she could while he was still turned away from her. She was shocked to find out that only the strikes that didn't go through the markings on his body were able to shut down the Tenketsu. The gentle fist operated by striking points on the body that would restrict chakra flows. This was done by shoving chakra needles into the body and striking the points directly. A way to counter the gentle fist was to cover the body with a layer of chakra. However, this was extremely chakra intensive, and if the gentle fist user was able to create needles stronger than the chakra cloak, then it would have been for naught. It would appear that the markings of the cursed seal are physical manifestations and an external source of power. However, they also contain a chakra strong enough in them to block the gentle fist strikes, which meant that Hinata was at another level of disadvantage, and a severe one at that. She jumped away from him and re-evaluated her situation. If she were able to strike enough points in one go while avoiding the markings, she would be able to end the fight, even though he was wearing clothes. The marking held enough chakra to visibly to her Byakugan. This might be tricky to pull off. She created a hand seal and shouted, "Clone!" Immediately 4 clones of her exactly likeliness started to circle Jirobo. They all shouted out in unison, 8 fields of hake, 32 palms. Jirobo didn't know where to defend from, so he charged the one straight in front of him and struck at it, which whooshed into air, dispelling the clone. He turned around to face 4 other incoming Hinatas. In an effort to dispel the clones, Jirobo stomped on the ground, creating a mini earthquake. This dispelled 3 normal clones, but he miscalculated. His foot was stuck in the ground and he wasn't able to maneuver around the Hinata that was charging at him. He crossed his arm in front of his chest to protect his vital from the blow. She simply struck at the points in the arms until they hung at the sides, and then started striking points on the torso, all the while maneuvering the cursed seal markings. When she was done, she jumped away from him and started to heave for air. That move had taken a lot out of her. She fished into her pocket for a soldier bit and quickly swallowed it. Jirobo slowly fell to his side, not moving. That is until his cursed seal markings began to merge together in a preparation for level 2. Hinata looked on dumbfoundedly and extremely afraid when he got up. His skin was red, his hair had grown considerably, and he was covered in sores. Her Byakugan confirmed that the markings were merged and creating a defensive chakra cloak around his form. She would be able to fight him and win. The one technique that she was good at was rendered useless. Wanna switch? She heard Kurotsuchi say. Hinata looked at her opponent. It was a man who was covered in a puncture wound, blood, and was missing his nose. He was also creating a circle of blood of his own blood, which was still falling in great amount. A chilling opponent. An opponent that the gentle fist could be useful against. Without saying a word, she charged Hidan, leaving Jirobo to Kurotsuchi. He stepped into the circle of blood that he was making and adopted a really chilling look. His skin turned ebony black with white markings in the shape of a crude human skull structure. I'm sure, guys, this is what it is written. I'm not racist or anything. Yeah, just saying that before continuing the story, so please don't come at me. It's just that it is written in it. It is written by Gentle Katsune, by the way. Let's continue. He took a spike that was in his hand and tried to plunge it into his chest cavity. Hinata didn't know why she rushed and attacked him to stop him from harming himself. Maybe it was that the opponent that she just fought had different battle tactics. Maybe it was because she felt the feeling of impending doom emanating from his form. Maybe it was because she just wasn't of sane mind. The only thing that mattered is that she did charge at him. When the energy that the soldier pill had given her, she ran at him and quickly started striking any tenketsu points that she could hit. He didn't immediately notice her at first because he was too focused on Kurotsuchi's form and the look of blood squirting out of her ruptured torso that he was anticipating to come from impaling her himself. Hinata blindsiding him and shutting down his tenketsu network had been such a great surprise to him, and that accidentally dropped his spike. "Hidan!" he spat out. He took the spike that was still in his right hand and brought it downwards on the little girl. She tried to sidestep the giant spike, but this only worked partially. The topmost spike blade impaled her lower right abdomen and was wrenched out painfully. Hinata cried out in great pain as a fountain of blood cascaded out of the hole in her body. With one last great push of effort, she palmed his head, hitting a tenketsu that affected the amount of chakra going to the brain. It was a minor one and only severe to render him unconscious. That is, if he was a normal human being, which he wasn't. His chakra flowed abnormally slow while he's in his normal form. Slow enough that a Byakugan user might mistake it for a corpse. However, his chakra flow sped up slightly while in his advanced scaly form. This gave him just enough time to swing his scythe once again in Hinata's direction before succumbing to unconscious. Hinata was hit once again, this time in her chest. The scythe lodged itself in her ribcage, so when Hidan fell unconscious, his scythe fell with him, and Hinata along with the instrument of death. Hinata was afforded one last thought before she fell to unconscious as well. I hope that I was of help to Naruto-kun. Link break. Jirobo took a swipe at Kurotsuchi, who quickly jumped away. They assessed each other. Kurotsuchi could guess from his appearance that he had gained a significant power-up, that the speed that he showed as well as the strength that she could guess that he possessed made her want to sheath her sword. While it isn't very smart to run at a charging elephant with a sword, it's far more logical to just encase it in cement. She started to go through Hansel's. Jirobo charged at her with the intent of stopping her jutsu, but she kept on going, sidestepping, dodging and jumping away from his attacks. After she went through all the seals, she could feel the ability to mold chakras started to slip away. She shouted out, "Ongilling, Quicklime!" Luckily, the jutsu succeeded and she blasted Jirobo in the face with Quicklime powder. This made the effect of making him back away and scream out in pain. The jutsu ate away at his skin, even with the curse marks helping to power him up. Kurotsuchi could feel the ability to use chakra slipping away from her little by little. She didn't know that the reason for this affliction, but what she did know was that she needed to end the fight quickly. Apparently, not only the ritual user physical form was tied to the sacrifice, but also his chakra network. As his tenketsu started getting shut, so did hers. She drew her sword and prepared to charge him. Not being able to feel the ability to control jutsu properly, he roared in pain and anger, deciding that he didn't like knowing the fact that she was still breathing and wanted to change that as soon as he could. This mainly took the form of him rushing at her like a mad bull. Seeing no other option, she prepared herself and ran at him as well. She ducked under the fist that he sent towards her head and thrust her sword upwards and into his chest, directly cleaving his heart. She didn't expect the second fist to crash into her torso and sent her flying into a tree. Her ribcage was half caved in. Her spine was out of alignment. She couldn't breathe properly. She was in the largest amount of pain that she had ever been in her life. She couldn't think. Her feeling of chakra was slipping away, and she didn't know why. Kurotsuchi tilted her head upwards and opened her eyes into slits. She could see Jirobo face down on the ground with a sword sticking out of his chest. He appeared dead. So how was he able to hit her that hard after having his heart cleaved? Korotsuchi didn't know the answer. She was having a weird day and only wanted to take a nap. So that's what she did. As this is where I'm going to be leaving this part of, guys. Hope you like this video, and if you do, leave a like and comment down below and subscribe to my channel. We are so close to reaching 700 subscribers. I know we can reach it within a day if we want to. I know you support me as well, and I quite appreciate you from the bottom of my heart for the support you are showing me recently and from the start. And after reaching 700, no, we are currently at 800 subscribers, I might give you guys another shout out as well at the end of the video. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And as I said in the previous video, that the What If Naruto, the Regretful Family part is being written down right now and will be uploaded at Saturday, or if not at Saturday, it will be uploaded at Sunday. So yeah, without further ado, this is Apollo Uchiha and I am signing out. Peace.